for a long time, I could not talk about it. Like, I could not talk about the story. I would shake. I would get so afraid. And
But we couldn't listen to the song that was
couldn't even
playing.
listen to the song that was playing, which was really sad because the song Million Little Miracles was actually playing when Honey was born. But during that time, like, she wasn't breathing. All the, beeps in the hospital are scary when they're not beeping the way they're supposed to. And all the crazy stuff is, like, happening, and they think her shoulder's broken, she's not getting oxygen. Like, it was terrifying. So I couldn't even listen to the song. And now I look back and I'm like, wow, like, the song Million Little Miracles was playing, like, it was a miracle. Like, she's a miracle, and I think that's beautiful. But for a long time, I was like, I can't even listen to it. I don't even want to talk about it. And I would shake, like, when people would ask me, and I would, like, try to tell the story, but I would be, like, so traumatized. And I remember I had the best piece of advice. Do y'all know Dr. Amen?
Yeah,
we interviewed
Dr.
him.
Amen,
You did?
yeah.
Okay, he helps me a lot. Like, he's helped me so much. And he actually started helping me back when we actually got married, because I had a lot of anxiety from, like, different things I had walked through, back to the negative sides of fame. But so he started helping me a long time ago. Well, after I had Honey, a lot of that anxiety sparked back up, like, really severe. Like, I didn't know, like, postpartum anxiety, like, what that was until I was, like, literally fetal position in the closet, like, so terrified of everything and shaking and whatnot. And he told me, he said, Sadie, like, she got stuck for 2 minutes and 11 seconds, and you're stuck in the 2 minutes and 11 seconds, but she got out and she was okay, and she started breathing, and she is a healthy baby. And he was like, don't get stuck in the 2 minutes and 11 seconds. He said, actually, just skip over that part. Just tell the good part. Tell about the miracle story. Like, tell about the song playing. Tell about how her shoulder wasn't broken and she was able to breathe and that she is good. And I think, like, for so long, when people ask to tell the story, I'm, like, only thinking about, like, the hard part and not thinking about, like, oh, what's come, like, the good part at the end of it. And it was such good advice. And so now, like, I really want people to know, like, there's a good side of the story. Like, she's a 3-year-old girl that's running around today in an Anna dress, playing Anna and Elsa, like, having a blast and a great time. And, like, yes, that happened, but, like, don't get mentally, like, stuck in that zone. And so, yes, like, he first told me don't tell the story for a while. And so I didn't tell the story for a while. Like, when people would ask me, I'd be like, oh, no, I can't, like, tell that story right now. So I get it. If, like, people ask you to tell a story and you're like, you don't want to.
Well,
I think you have to, like, just not.
I've never looked at it as, like, scary, honestly, because I feel like I just, like, separated in that time. I was just like, oh, the baby's here. And, like, I was able to, like, jump over it. It wasn't until later when I had talked to my doctor about having the next baby, I was like, well, we're doing that whole thing again. And she's like, no. Like, we need to talk about this. Like, for the future, you probably want to think about a C-section. I was like,
yeah,
that wasn't normal. That was scary.
Well,
and
actually,
then I was scared.
That's actually what happened. So my mom always says, she's like, I think what happened to you, why it traumatized you, because I didn't know either, even though it was so bad. Like, looking back, I'm like, oh, okay, but I never given birth before, so I didn't know.
That was me.
Again, like, you're prepared for something you don't know. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So I was just like, okay, like, that was really hard, and labor's hard, so you're like, that was like, crazy. Wow.
I wasn't thinking it was going to be easy.
Me either. So I was just like, okay, wow. And then the nurse came in and was like, she was so scared. And she was like, they were coming off of how scared they all were, which I didn't know they were all scared. Like, to that degree, I just thought that was crazy. And the nurse said, like, no, that's the scariest thing that could have happened. Like, and she said those words.
Oh,
and
gosh, that would have freaked me.
And then I was like, wait, what? And then they were like, we're going to have a couple of my pediatricians come check her and make sure she's really okay. And then I was like, hold on, wait, what's happening? Then when I realized, like, what happened, then I was like, so scared. So
That's for
sure. For a whole 24 hours, I was actually fine about it. And then when I, like, heard from them, I was like, oh, no, not fine. Because now I'm freaked out, So, yeah, actually very same thing. And then it was like, okay, you're not going to be able to do that again, and, like, the C-section, like, all the talks.
I didn't know any of that. Like, everyone was so calm that, like, all the nurses were like, yeah, we're going to check him. Like, I think they broke his clavicle, and it was broken, but they're like, he's fine. Like, his bones are like rubber right now. Like, and they were, like, all very calm. And my doctor was, like, so calm too. She didn't really say anything until, like, I was, like, third trimester with Augie. She's like, so when are we gonna schedule, like, we need to have a conversation? And I was like,
and you're like, what? Yeah.
I was like, was that weird or different? Like, was that, so she's like, that was serious. That was an emergency situation. I was like, oh, okay.
And of course it was the one appointment that I wasn't at, so Abby was just really freaked out. She was like, she's telling me I have to have a C-section, and you were really worried. But I'm just thinking, they're like, okay, well, I'm not a doctor,
I felt disappointed. I was like,
yeah, it's disappointing when you have a plan and it doesn't go the route. But, like, I feel like for the second time, I was just like, okay, I'm not going to like try to make a plan, because the first time I had all these plans in the world and none of it happened, because obviously you can't plan for that, and then craziness happened. So then the second time, I didn't know that I was going to have a C-section. So I guess I was kind of like, okay, whatever they say, I'm just going to be like, whatever they say, I'm just going to go with it. But I can't imagine like not knowing that, and then the doctor being like, hey, you're going to have that, without any like mental prep, because that's hard.
I rallied. It was okay.
Man, what was your experience when all this went down?
So
Matt was freaked.
I'm with Sadie. I did not know the severity of anything. The thing that honestly freaked me out the most, which I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but I'm going to. I did not know that a cone head was a thing.
Yeah, he literally did
I was like freaking out.
Matt told him to put a helmet on our baby.
No, I didn't. I was like, wait, do they need a helmet?
Well, I'm saying this happened, and then they're all kind of scrambling, and I'm like, have y'all seen her?
Have you seen the head? Have you seen that?
Well, I literally saw her, and then I just saw like Jimmy Neutron. I was like, what? I was like, it is. I don't know what this is. Obviously, it's my child, and she's beautiful. But I was like, no one prepared me for that. I was like,
Jimmy
why
Neutron,
are y'all checking her? I was like, why are y'all checking her shoulder? I was like, something is like wrong with her head. And then they were explaining to me the cone head.
And I didn't know any of that. I was so out of it. And by the time they brought her to me, like,
well, they have
I didn't
her on
even
the
know
table,
what happened.
and
they brought her. She had a hat
they have her on the thing.
Like,
they're checking for jaundice and everything. Then they turn her around. She's screaming, and I was like, what? I had no like reference point for what a.
Bro, isn't it like a traffic cone? Like, I think that's the best way to describe it. It literally looks like that, especially with shoulder dystocia, because they're there for so long.
I know
that. Yeah, being stuck in the birth canal, it like forms their head into a literal cone.
Yeah.
For anybody that like doesn't understand what we're saying,
Phineas from Phineas and Ferb.
Does not have anything to do with that.
But it does maybe make it a little bit more prominent, because it's stuck long enough there, so it forms it a little bit more cone-like.
And their body, and like their head's so flexible, malleable, whatever.
That is true. Actually, did your second come out a little bit more like?
Well, C-section, they don't have the cone head.
Yeah, C-section babies come out pretty.
Oh my gosh, she's so pretty. Like, her head is so round. Yeah. I think her head was so round.
Which I know you asked my experience. Like, that was the thing when I saw Honey, like with the way that her head looked. I was like, I was just
like, oh no.
I was just kind of confused.
I have to say too, like, that was one of those things, like, you think it's gonna, like, it's expectation versus reality. Maybe like Instagram versus reality is what we should say, because you see all these people like for the first time meeting their baby, and it's like the most magical moment, and like that was not our experience, because it was so crazy. And so then like put her on me, and I was just like, what?
Yeah.
Like, I was just like, I was in a daze. Like, I could not. And I remember Christian saying like, it's Honey, and that was like snapped. Like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, this is my baby. Like, she's here. She's okay. This is Honey. Like, whew. But it wasn't like it was like a, okay. Like, my body was just like, what? And I could not stop shaking. Like, I had the crazy shakes. So
that's the thing too. Like, you don't know what you don't know.
Like,
you know.
Whoa. But then, kind of like what you said. We rallied, and it was okay, and it was great, and she's amazing. But whew, that was crazy.